Hello, welcome to the Law Careers Net channel. It's Simranjeet Kaur Mann here, and today in the penultimate vlog that I'm doing on this channel, we'll be talking about the key things that trainees typically do during their training contract in their seats. I think it's really important to talk about this because what I found when I was in the process, when I was applying for training contracts, was I had a lot of an idea about how to apply and doing different research about different firms, but what I actually didn't have much of a clear idea about was what the actual role of a trainee was, what typical work did they get involved in. So in this video, I'm going to split the type of work that trainees do into different sections, and the first section that I want to talk about is drafting. So drafting is a really big part of what a trainee solicitor does. I think that in both my first seat, which was construction disputes, and my second seat now, which is real estate, I've been involved in drafting in both of these seats, whether that be drafting letters, drafting witness statements, drafting emails to your colleagues or to the other side. All types of drafting is involved. Right now in my real estate seat, I'm also heavily involved in drafting land registry forms like RX1s or AP1s. So when it comes to these kind of tasks, things like attention to detail is really important. But one thing that I found particularly in my real estate seat is that your drafting gets improved and it gets better when you have an understanding of the context of the matter. What are the client's objectives? What are they looking for? Who's the other side? What's the context behind the situation? Because sometimes, for example, when you're writing a letter to the other side, having that history about what's happened before, how the other side have communicated, for example, can really help in respect of the tone of the letter. So say if they've been quite cooperative, you will want to make sure that your letter and your drafting is quite polite. And when you are drafting, for example, for the other side who is known to be quite aggressive in the situation, or they're not as cooperative, then again the tone of your letter or writing style changes then as well. As well as drafting as well, it's really important to have a clear understanding of the firm's house style and precedent. So there's certain things, even when it comes to the capitalization of titles, headings, etc., that differs from firm to firm. So it's really useful to get used to the house style, and I think what I did was I got training on this as well, and I'm sure that you will be as well. The second part of the role of a trainee solicitor is managing their inbox and sending emails, and I'm not going to lie to you, a massive part of my role as a trainee is just keeping my head on top of all those emails that you receive, making sure that you've replied to everyone, making sure that you're keeping matters ticking. Emailing is also really important, and again it relates back to drafting because you still want to make sure that your attention to detail is there, you've still got the correct spelling, grammar, etc. Sometimes you are the first point of contact when people are emailing you. So for some matters that I'm working on right now, the client emails me directly. So managing your inbox and having an inbox that's organized is a really big part of the role of a trainee. Linking on to the organisation element, there's a lot of file management and organisation involved then as well. And what I mean by file management is sometimes you as a trainee might be in charge of a data room or a file or a folder, that's got a lot of documents in it, and you're then responsible for making sure, for example, that all the documents are downloaded or all the documents are there, or checking the details within the document. So for example, the details of the tenant or the details of the property are correct. So you are doing a lot of fact checking and making sure that everything is present. So that's another big role that a trainee does. I've done a lot of that in my real estate finance seat. So if you are, for example, say in a banking seat, corporate seat, real estate finance, and there will probably be data rooms involved, and you are involved in making sure that all the documents are there and it stays organised and you've got all the documents downloaded, etc. A big part of my first seat was attending meetings. So in these meetings, they were typically with the client, and what we would do is discuss next steps. We would discuss a possible route of action. Say if something new happened, so say if we received a letter from the other side, we would have a meeting where we would discuss, okay, what do we do next? How do we reply back to this letter? And in those meetings, the typical role of a trainee, usually it's the most junior person. So in this situation, because I was a trainee, I was the one who was making all the attendance notes. So in attendance notes, what I've been told is to write literally anything and everything that you can hear and that you can, try and type into the attendance note. And then after the meetings, what I would do is, of course, make sure the attendance note was free of any grammatical or spelling errors, and then I would send it off to the people, the fee earners in my team, and also save it on file so it's just there for everyone to refer to. And then what I would do based on that attendance note is draft up a course of actions list for the client. So I would email the client and say, thank you for meeting with us, here is what was discussed, so here's your action points and here's our action points, and here's the deadlines that you would expect us to get it done by, just so they have a summary of what's happened after every meeting as well. Now another big part of a trainee's role is researching. Now surprise, surprise, not everyone can learn absolutely everything and anything about a specific area. Even partners, for example, have questions about certain things in the law that they're not familiar with. So recently in my real estate seat, I've been doing a lot of research about environmental impacts. For example, things like green leases I've had to research. I've had to research things like the biodiversity net gain, all these different new things that come about that lawyers and fee earners aren't typically familiarized with because they're quite new. And then I am tasked with researching those areas of law and then feeding back to those fee earners with what I've learned. And one thing that I found that's really helpful here, which is linked back to my first point, is when you understand the context of why you are researching. So say if you are researching for a particular client and their matter, you can then tailor your research note around what the client's matter is. So say for example you know that you are acting on behalf of the landlord, you can then tailor your research from the landlord's point of view for that fee earner. And the structure of research notes is also really important in my opinion, because you are providing these research notes to individuals in the firm who are particularly busy. You want to make sure, for example, what I do with my research notes is I have the summary right at the start. So that basically provides the answer to their query straight away. So it means that they don't have to read through all the trawls of research that I've done in the separate sections of that note. They can just go straight to the summary at the top, and that will provide them direct answer. I would also provide the sources that I've used when I'm doing my research notes as well, just in case they want that extra detail and they want to see where I found out certain pieces of information, they can find that out as well. Now another really big part of being a trainee, and this is non-chargeable work, so it's not really billed to any client or matter as such, is the CSR, the social element. So CSR is corporate social responsibility, and under that things like volunteering, pro bono, helping the firm out in terms of reaching their environmental impact, helping the partner charities, all those different things comes under CSR. You can also get involved in D&I, so you can be part of the D&I network at your firm, and you can also be involved in organising the socials. I've gotten involved a lot in these kind of things. So for example, it can go from organising the team Christmas lunch to organising fundraisers in the firm, and then that allows you to really meet new people and actually organise an event for a certain number of people, which, yeah, it's a great thing to get involved in, especially as a trainee. And it is something that does come back in feedback as well. So if you are about to start your training contract, or if you are wanting to get a training contract, definitely try and understand that it's not only simply about the business side of things. Getting involved in the wider firm as a whole is also as important. So yeah, hopefully this video helps in providing a bit of an insight into the role of a trainee solicitor and typical tasks that they can get involved in, just to give you a bit of an idea about what to expect when and if you start your training contract. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you all in the next one.